The distress signal was weak. It came from a star system that no human had ever visited before. Captain Daniel Cole sat in his chair on the bridge of the horizon and listened to the strange sound. It was not a voice. It was a repeating tone, old and tired, like a heartbeat that was slowly dying. "How old is this signal?" Danny asked. Laura Webb, the ship's language expert, checked her screen. "It has been broadcasting for at least 300 years, maybe longer. The equipment that sent it is very old." Nathan Price, the chief engineer, let out a low whistle. 300 years of asking for help. That is a long time to wait. Danny made his decision quickly. "Set a course. We are going to answer it." The Horizon was not a warship. It was an exploration vessel, built for long journeys into unknown space. The crew was small, only 40 people, but they were good at their jobs. They had answered distress signals before. They had saved lives before. This was what they did. The journey took 6 days. When they arrived, the crew fell silent. A massive space station hung in the darkness. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The metal was dark and ancient. Lights flickered on its surface like dying stars. Behind it, a red sun burned low and weak. The star was old. It was dying. And so was the station. "I am reading life signs," Laura said. Her voice was quiet with wonder. "Thousands of them. There are thousands of living beings on that station." Danny leaned forward. "Open a channel. All frequencies. Let them know we are here to help." Laura sent the message. She sent it in every language the human database contained. She sent it in mathematics. She sent it in simple tones that any intelligent species should understand. The response came fast, but it was not what they expected. Every light on the station turned red. Warning sirens echoed through the communication channel. Voices screamed in a language no human had ever heard. The fear in those voices needed no translation. "They are scared," Laura said. "They are very scared. Of us." Nathan checked his instruments. "Their life support is failing. Power levels are critical. If we do not help them, they will all die within 2 days." Danny stood up. "Then we help them, whether they want it or not." The Horizon moved closer. It docked with the station using emergency connectors. The moment the airlock opened, Danny led his team inside. The station was cold. The air was thin. Emergency lights painted everything in shades of red and orange. And it was empty. The hallways stretched out in every direction. But there was no one there. "Where did they go?" Nathan asked. Laura pointed to marks on the floor. "They ran. They all ran deeper into the station. Away from us. They walked for nearly an hour. The station was like a maze, full of rooms and passages that seemed to go on forever." Danny saw strange writing on the walls. He saw pictures and symbols that told stories he could not understand. But he also saw something else. He saw fear. The aliens who lived here were afraid. Not just of the humans. They had been afraid for a very long time. Finally, they found a door that was sealed shut. Laura worked on the control panel, while Nathan checked the power systems nearby. "I can open it," Laura said. "But I think they locked it from the inside. They do not want us to enter." "I don't." Danny thought about this. He thought about the dying station and the thousands of lives inside. He thought about the fear in those screaming voices. "Open it," he said. "We did not come all this way to let them die alone." The door slid open. Behind it stood a creature unlike anything Danny had ever seen. It was tall, nearly 7 feet, with gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and black, like pools of dark water. It wore robes that were old and worn. In its hands, it held a book made of metal pages. The creature looked at Danny. Its whole body was shaking. "You are them," it said. The words came through the translator slowly, broken and rough. "You are the ones from the prophecy. The Terrans." Danny held up his hands to show he meant no harm. "We are humans. We came because we heard your distress signal. We want to help you." The creature shook its head. "No. No. You do not understand. We have waited for this day for 50,000 years. We have feared this day. The prophecy warned us. The prophecy told us what would happen when the Terrans finally came. Laura stepped forward. What prophecy? What do you think we are going to do? The creature opened the metal book. Its pages were covered in writing and pictures. Danny could not read the words, but he could see the images. He saw a small blue planet. He saw creatures that looked like humans. He saw fire and war and destruction. Our ancestors watched your world, the creature said. Long ago, before your kind had even learned to build cities, we watched. We saw what you are. We saw the wars you fight. We saw the fire you created, the fire that could burn whole cities to ash. We saw a species that would not die, no matter how hard it tried to destroy itself. The creature looked at Danny with those dark, frightened eyes. The prophecy says that when the Terrans reach the stars, nothing will stop them. Every empire will fall. Every species will kneel, or burn. You are the end of all things. Danny listened to these words. He looked at the ancient book and the ancient pictures. He looked at this creature who had spent its whole life afraid of something it had never met. Your ancestors watched us, Danny said slowly. But did they ever talk to us? Did they ever try to understand us? The creature did not answer. Danny nodded. That is what I thought. You looked at us from far away and decided what we were. But you never asked us. He took a step closer. The creature backed away, but Danny stopped and held still. My name is Daniel Cole. My ship is called the Horizon. We heard your call for help, and we came. That is all. That is why we are here. Not to conquer you. Not to destroy you. Just to help. The creature stared at him for a long moment. Then it spoke in a voice that was barely a whisper. The prophecy did not say anything about this. Danny almost smiled. Maybe your prophecy did not know us as well as it thought. Behind them, Nathan called out, Captain, the main power system is about to fail. If I do not start repairs now, this whole station will go dark in 6 hours. Danny turned back to the creature. I am going to save your station. I am going to save your people. You can watch us. Just like your ancestors did. But this time, you will see who we really are. He walked past the creature and into the heart of the station. Behind him, the alien called Vorath clutched his ancient book and wondered if everything he believed was wrong. Nathan worked through the night. The station's power systems were old, older than anything humans had ever seen. But power was power. Wires carried electricity. Machines needed fuel. Some things were the same no matter who built them. While Nathan worked, Laura explored the station. She walked through empty hallways with her recorder, taking pictures of everything she saw. The walls were covered with murals, paintings made with colors that had faded over thousands of years. They told the story of the Zethrani people. She saw their beginning. She saw them build their first cities on a world far away. She saw them reach for the stars and build stations like this one. Great temples floating in the darkness of space. They had been a powerful species once. They had watched the galaxy grow and change. Then Laura found the chamber. It was round and very large. The ceiling rose high above her head, painted with stars and planets. But the walls were different. Every inch of the walls showed the same thing. They showed Earth. They showed humans. Laura walked slowly around the room. She saw paintings of early humans, living in caves and hunting animals. She saw them build villages and then cities. She saw them fight wars with swords and spears. She saw them create machines and weapons. She saw mushroom clouds rising over burning cities. The final painting was the largest. It showed humans standing among the stars. They were surrounded by broken ships and ruined worlds. Fire burned behind them. At their feet, other species knelt in surrender. You found the prophecy chamber. Laura turned. A young Zethrani stood in the doorway. He was smaller than Vorath, and his gray skin was smoother, less wrinkled by age. He walked into the room with careful steps, keeping his distance from Laura. My name is Kirtal, he said. I am a diplomat. I speak the trade language of the galaxy. I can talk to you better than the High Keeper. Laura lowered her recorder. These paintings, they show us destroying everything. Quote, Kirtal nodded slowly. Our ancestors made these images 50,000 years ago. They had ships that could see across the galaxy. They watched many young species. Most of those species destroyed themselves. Wars, disease, natural disasters. The universe is not kind to young civilizations. He walked to the wall and touched one of the paintings gently. But your species was different. You fought wars that should have ended you. You created weapons that could burn your whole world. Again and again, you came to the edge of death. And every time, you survived. That should be a good thing, Laura said. Kirtal turned to look at her. His large, dark eyes were filled with something between fear and wonder. You do not understand. Our ancestors had seen many species. They knew the patterns. A species that fights that hard, that refuses to die no matter what. That species is dangerous. More dangerous than any other. He pointed to the final painting. They made a prophecy. They said that when the humans finally reached the stars, they would bring their fire with them. They would do to the galaxy what they had done to their own world. They would burn everything that stood in their way. Laura looked at the painting for a long moment. She could not deny what it showed. Humans had done terrible things to each other. They had fought wars that killed millions. They had built weapons that could end all life on Earth. These were facts. But they were not the only facts. Your ancestors watched us, Laura said. Did they ever see what we do after our wars? One. Kirtal tilted his head. After? Yes. After the fighting stops. After the fires go out. Laura walked to the painting of the mushroom cloud. This happened on my world. 2 cities were destroyed by weapons more powerful than anything before. Hundreds of thousands of people died in an instant. She turned to face Kirtal. But do you know what happened next? The humans who dropped those weapons, and the humans who suffered from them, became allies. They became friends. They built things together. They helped each other grow. Kirtal said nothing. He just stared at her. Every war in our history ended the same way, Laura continued. With peace. With rebuilding. With people who had been enemies learning to live together. Your ancestors saw our violence. But they did not see what came after. They did not see the hospitals we build, the food we share, the hands we reach out to those who need help. She took a step toward Kirtal. He flinched but did not run. We are not monsters. We are not destroyers. Yes, we fight. We fight hard. We fight with everything we have. But we do not fight because we want to see others suffer. We fight because we love. We fight to protect the things that matter to us. Kirtal's voice was small. And what matters to you? Laura smiled. Everything. Everyone. That is the part your ancestors did not understand. When a human decides that something matters, they will do anything to protect it. Anything at all. There was a loud noise from somewhere deep in the station. Alarms began to sound. Kirtal's eyes went wide. The reactor, he said. Something is wrong with the reactor. Laura grabbed her communicator. Nathan, what is happening? Nathan's voice came through, rough and worried. The main reactor is failing faster than I thought. I need to vent the radioactive coolant manually, or this whole station will melt down in 20 minutes. Can you do it from where you are? No, I have to go into the reactor chamber myself. The radiation will be high. It might kill me. But if I do not do it, everyone on this station dies. Laura looked at Kirtal. The young Zethrani was frozen, his face twisted with confusion and fear. Your prophecy says we bring death, Laura said. Watch what we really bring. She ran toward the reactor chamber. Kirtal stood alone in the prophecy chamber, surrounded by paintings of human destruction. But in his mind, he kept seeing something else. He kept seeing a human woman running toward danger to save people who feared her. He did not know what to believe anymore. In the reactor chamber, Nathan was already working. The room was hot and filled with warning lights. Radiation symbols glowed on every wall. Danny was there too, helping to carry equipment. "You should leave," Nathan told them. "I can do this alone." Danny shook his head. "We came here together. We leave together. Now tell me what to do." Nathan pointed to a large valve on the far wall. "When I give the signal, open that valve all the way. The coolant will vent into space. You will have about 30 seconds before the radiation gets too high. Then you run. Understand?" "Understand." Danny nodded. He moved to the valve and waited. Nathan worked with his tools, his hands moving fast and sure. Sweat dripped down his face. The heat was getting worse. The whole room seemed to shake with the power of the failing reactor. "Now," Nathan shouted. Danny turned the valve. There was a terrible sound, like a giant taking a breath. Cold air rushed past them as the radioactive coolant escaped into the vacuum of space. "Run!" Nathan grabbed Danny and pulled him toward the door. They made it out just as the emergency shield slammed shut behind them. They collapsed on the floor of the hallway, breathing hard. Laura reached them a moment later. "Is it done?" she asked. Nathan checked his instruments. He let out a long breath and smiled. "The reactor is stable. The station is safe. For now." Danny lay on the floor and looked up at the ceiling. He thought about the prophecy and the paintings and the fear in Kirtal's eyes. "We almost died to save people who think we are monsters," he said. Laura sat down beside him. "Maybe that is how we prove we are not." Somewhere in the station, Highkeeper Vorath watched the humans through a security screen. He saw them lying on the floor, exhausted from saving Zethrani lives. His hands trembled as he held his ancient book. The prophecy said Terrans would bring destruction. It did not say they would nearly die to prevent it. For the first time in his very long life, Vorath wondered if the prophecy was wrong. The station was quiet now. The alarms had stopped. The emergency lights had returned to their normal soft glow, but the Zethrani still hid in their chambers, afraid to come out. Danny sat in what looked like a medical room. A Zethrani doctor was treating a burn on his arm that he had gotten during the reactor crisis. The doctor's 4 hands moved with great care, but Danny could see them shaking. "You do not have to be afraid of me," Danny said gently. The doctor did not look at him. "I have been afraid of your kind since I was a child. My parents told me stories. Their parents told them stories. For 1,000 generations, we have known that one day the Terrans would come, and when they came, everything would end." Danny watched the doctor work. "What is your name?" The doctor paused. This was not a question he expected. "I am called Marin." "Marin," Danny repeated. "That is a good name. My mother had a friend named Mary. It sounds almost the same." Marin looked at Danny for the first time. His dark eyes were full of confusion. "Why do you talk to me like this? Why do you act like we are equals?" "Because we are," Danny said simply. "I am a person. You are a person. We both want to live. We both want our people to be safe. That makes us the same." Marin finished treating the burn and stepped back. He stood there for a moment, his 4 arms hanging at his sides. Then he spoke in a voice that was barely above a whisper. "The prophecy says you will destroy us, but you just risked your life to save us. I do not understand." Before Danny could answer, the door opened. Highkeeper Vorath walked in, his ancient book clutched against his chest. Behind him came Kirtal and several other Zethrani. They looked at Danny with a mix of fear and something else, something that might have been curiosity. Vorath spoke first. "I have watched you, Terran. I have watched you and your crew since you arrived. I have seen things that I cannot explain." Danny stood up slowly, careful not to make any sudden movements. "What have you seen?" "I saw your engineer nearly poison himself with radiation to fix our reactor. I saw your language expert running toward danger instead of away from it. I saw you carrying our wounded to safety, even as they screamed and tried to get away from you." Vorath took a step closer. His old eyes were full of something that looked like pain. The prophecy says, "Your kind brings only destruction." But everything I have seen says otherwise. Why? Why would you do these things for us? Danny thought about this question. He thought about his home on Earth, about the small town where he grew up. He thought about his parents and his sister and the friends he had made over the years. He thought about why he had become a starship captain in the first place. "On my world," Danny began, "we have a saying. It goes like this. When someone is drowning, you do not ask if they deserve to be saved. You just save them." The Zethrani listened in silence. "We heard your distress signal," Danny continued. "We knew someone needed help. That is all we needed to know. We did not know who you were. We did not know if you would be friendly or dangerous. It did not matter. Someone was calling for help, and we answered." Voreth shook his head slowly. "But we are strangers to you. We have done nothing to earn your help. We have only shown you fear and hatred." "That does not matter either," Danny said. He walked toward Voreth until they were standing face to face. "Where I come from, we do not help people because they earned it. We help people because they need it. That is what it means to be human." Kirtal spoke up from behind Voreth. "But the prophecy says you bring fire and war. Our ancestors saw your history. They saw the terrible things you did to each other." Danny nodded. "Yes. We did terrible things. We still do sometimes. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We hurt each other. We fight wars that should never be fought." He paused and looked around at the gathered Zethrani. "But we also do something else. Something your ancestors did not write about in their prophecy. When we see someone suffering, we help. When we see someone alone, we reach out. When we see someone in danger, we protect." Danny pointed to his own chest. "This is what we are. We are fire, yes. But fire does not only burn. Fire also gives warmth. Fire gives light. Fire keeps away the darkness. That is what humans do. We bring fire to the coldest places and the darkest nights." Vorath was silent for a long time. His hands still held the ancient book, but they were no longer shaking. When he finally spoke, his voice was different, softer, less certain. "For 50,000 years, we have lived by the prophecy. We have built our whole civilization around fear of your kind. We watched from far away and never came close. We never tried to understand you. We only feared you." He looked down at the book. "Perhaps that was our mistake." Laura entered the room. She had been listening from the doorway. "Hi, Keeper. I have been studying your murals and records. Your ancestors were great observers. They could see across the galaxy and record what they found. But they made one error." Voreth looked at her. "What error?" "They only watched. They never spoke. They never asked questions. They saw humans fight wars and decided that was all we were. But you cannot know a species by only watching their worst moments. You have to see everything. The love and the hate, the war and the peace, the destruction and the rebuilding." Laura walked to stand beside Danny. "Your ancestors saw the fire. They did not see what we do with it." Marin, the doctor, suddenly spoke up. His voice was louder than before, more confident. "When the reactor was failing, I saw something. The Terran engineer was in pain. The radiation was hurting him. But he did not stop. He kept working. I asked him why. And do you know what he said?" The other Zethrani looked at him. "He said that pain does not matter when lives are at stake. He said that humans have a duty to help those who cannot help themselves." Then he went back to work. Marin looked at Vorath with clear eyes. "Hi, Keeper. I have healed wounds and treated illnesses for 200 years. I have seen many things, but I have never seen anyone fight that hard for strangers. Maybe the prophecy got it wrong. Maybe we have been wrong this whole time." Vorath stood very still. The weight of 50,000 years of belief pressed down on him. Everything he knew, everything his people knew, said that humans were monsters, but his own eyes told him something different. Finally, he made a decision. "I must bring this to the conclave of elders," he said. "They lead our people. They guard the prophecy. They must see what I have seen. They must decide what to do." Danny nodded. "We will go with you. We will tell them what we told you. We will show them who we really are." Vorath looked at him with something close to respect. "You would stand before the conclave? They are not like me. They have never seen a human. They only know the prophecy. They may decide to destroy you." Danny smiled. "Then we will just have to change their minds." Vorath almost smiled back. "Almost. You are either very brave or very foolish, Terran." "Maybe both," Danny said. "But that is also what it means to be human." The temple ship was enormous. It hung in space like a mountain turned on its side, covered with lights and towers and ancient symbols. This was the heart of Zethrani civilization. This was where the conclave of elders met to decide the fate of their people. Danny and Laura traveled there on a small transport with Vorath and Kirtal. Nathan stayed behind on the station to continue repairs. The journey took 3 days, and during that time, Danny learned more about the Zethrani. They were an old species. They had reached the stars when humans were still learning to farm. They had built great empires and watched them fall. They had seen other species rise and die. Through it all, they had survived by being careful, by watching, by avoiding danger. The prophecy about humans was the oldest and most important warning in their history. Every Zethrani child learned it before they learned anything else. The Terrans will come, and when they come, all will fall. Now 2 of those Terrans were about to stand before the most powerful leaders of the Zethrani people. The docking bay was full of guards. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Their dark eyes watched Danny and Laura with open fear and anger. But none of them attacked. Vorath had sent word ahead that the humans were coming to speak, not to fight. The walk to the central chamber took almost an hour. The temple ship was like a maze of hallways and rooms, each one decorated with murals and carvings that told the story of the Zethrani. Danny saw images of their homeworld, their first ships, their greatest leaders. He also saw images of the prophecy, painted again and again on every wall. Finally, they reached the chamber of the conclave. It was the biggest room Danny had ever seen. The ceiling rose so high that it disappeared into darkness. Thousands of Zethrani sat in rows that climbed up the walls like the seats of an ancient stadium. At the center was a raised platform where the elders sat. There were 12 of them, each one old and gray, wearing robes covered with symbols of their rank. Danny and Laura walked to the center of the platform. Every eye in the chamber was on them. The oldest of the elders spoke first. Her voice was dry and cracked with age. "So, the prophecy comes true at last. The Terrans stand among us." She looked at Danny with eyes that had seen 10,000 years. "I was young when we first detected signals from your world. I watched your species build machines and wage wars. I watched you split the atom and burn your own cities. I have waited my whole life for this moment. The moment when you would finally reach us." Danny bowed his head in respect. "Elder, I understand why you fear us. Your ancestors watched our worst moments. They saw us at our lowest points. But I ask you to listen to what I have to say before you judge us." Another elder spoke. This one was male, with scars on his face that spoke of old battles. "Why should we listen? The prophecy is clear. You are destroyers. You bring only death." Laura stepped forward. "The prophecy is based on observation from 50,000 years ago. Your ancestors watched us from across the galaxy. They never came close. They never spoke to us. They never tried to understand us." She turned in a slow circle, looking at all the Zethrani watching from above. "Yes, humans have done terrible things. We have fought wars. We have killed each other. We have nearly destroyed our own world more than once. These are facts, and I will not deny them." The chamber was completely silent. Every Zethrani listened. "But those are not the only facts," Laura continued. "We have also built hospitals that heal the sick. We have created art that makes people cry with joy. We have written music that touches the heart. We have raised children and cared for the old. We have loved and laughed and danced under the stars. She pointed to Danny. This man heard a distress signal from strangers he had never met. He did not know who you were. He did not know if you would be friendly or hostile. But he came anyway. He risked his life anyway. Because someone needed help. The oldest elder raised her hand. Words are easy. Actions are what matter. What actions have you taken? Vorath stepped forward. I can answer that, Elder. I was on the station when the humans arrived. I saw what they did. He told them everything. He told them about Nathan going into the reactor chamber. About Danny carrying wounded Zethrani to safety. About Laura working with terrified technicians to save lives. He told them about the humans who nearly died to help people who thought they were monsters. When he finished, the chamber was buzzing with quiet voices. The elders spoke among themselves in whispers. Finally, the scarred elder spoke again. Even if this is true, it does not change the prophecy. Humans are dangerous. You have weapons that could destroy worlds. You have fire in your hearts that will not be put out. Someday, that fire will burn us. Danny nodded slowly. You are right. We are dangerous. I will not pretend otherwise. Humans can be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. When they choose to be. The elders looked surprised. They had not expected him to agree. But danger is not the same as evil, Danny continued. A knife can kill, but it can also prepare food. Fire can burn, but it can also give warmth. Everything depends on how it is used. He looked at the oldest elder. You ask why you should listen to us. I will tell you why. Because right now, your station is dying. Your people are afraid. Your civilization has spent 50,000 years hiding from a threat that never came. And in all that time, what have you done? Have you grown? Have you explored? Have you made new friends and allies? The elder did not answer. We could have destroyed your station, Danny said. We have the power. Our ship has weapons. If we were the monsters you believe us to be, everyone on that station would be dead right now. But instead, we saved them. We saved them because that is what humans do. He took a breath. You can destroy us right here if you want. You have thousands of soldiers, and we are only 2. But that will not change what we showed you. That will not change the truth. Laura stepped forward again. Elder, I study languages and cultures. I have spent my whole life trying to understand different species. And I have learned something important. Fear makes us blind. When we are afraid, we see only what we expect to see. We do not see the truth. She looked up at the thousands of Zethrani watching from above. Your ancestors were afraid of us. They saw our violence and expected the worst. But they never gave us a chance to show them who we really are. I am asking you to do what they did not. Give us a chance. The oldest elder looked at Danny and Laura for a long moment. Her ancient eyes seemed to be searching for something. If we gave you this chance, she said slowly, and you proved to be exactly what the prophecy says, we would all die. Our whole civilization would burn. Danny met her gaze without flinching. Yes, that is possible. But let me ask you something, Elder. If we became your friends instead of your enemies, what do you think would happen to anyone who tried to hurt you? The elder blinked. You said we have fire in our hearts, Danny continued. You are right. We do. And that fire burns brightest when we are protecting the people we love. He spread his hands. You can be our enemy and face our fire. Or you can be our friend and have our fire protect you. The choice is yours. The chamber was silent. The elders looked at each other with eyes that held thousands of years of fear and doubt. And somewhere in that silence, something began to change. The debate lasted for hours. The elders argued among themselves while Danny and Laura waited in silence. Some wanted to destroy the humans immediately. Others were less certain. The things they had heard, the stories Vorath had told, these were not easy to ignore. The oldest elder finally raised her hand for silence. The chamber became quiet. "We are divided," she said. "This has not happened in 1,000 years. The prophecy has always guided us. But now, some among us wonder if the prophecy told the whole truth." She looked at Danny. "Terran, you speak of protection. You speak of love. These are beautiful words, but words are not proof." Before Danny could respond, alarms began to ring throughout the temple ship. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted in panic. Something was very wrong. Kirtal rushed to a communication panel. His face went pale as he read the information. "The Vrexian Dominion. They have sent a war fleet into our space." The elders rose from their seats. Fear spread through the chamber like a wave. "The Vrexians have wanted our territory for centuries," the scarred elder said. "They know we are weak. They must have learned about the station crisis. They think this is their chance to strike." Danny turned to Kirtal. "How many ships?" 50 warships. Maybe more. They will reach us in less than an hour." Danny looked at the chamber full of terrified Zethrani. He looked at the elders who had been ready to kill him just minutes ago. He made his decision without hesitation. "Laura, contact the horizon. Tell Nathan to bring the ship here at maximum speed. Then open a channel to any human vessels within range. Tell them what is happening. Tell them we need help." Laura ran to use the communication systems. Danny turned to the oldest elder. "You wanted proof," he said. "You are about to get it." The next hour was chaos. Zethrani ran through the corridors of the temple ship, preparing for an attack they knew they could not survive. Their own fleet was small and scattered. The temple ship itself had no weapons. They were helpless. But Danny was not helpless. The horizon arrived first, speeding out of jump space like a silver arrow. Nathan brought the ship to a stop between the temple ship and the approaching Vrexian fleet. One human vessel against 50 warships. Then more ships arrived. A human cargo hauler named the Lucky Star came next. Then a science vessel called the Discovery. Then a patrol ship, the Guardian. More and more human ships appeared, answering Laura's call. They were not warships. They were traders and explorers and scientists. But they came anyway. By the time the Vrexian fleet was in visual range, 17 human vessels hung in space between them and the Zethrani. Danny stood on the bridge of the horizon, looking at the enemy fleet on the main screen. They were big ships with heavy weapons, built for war and conquest. His little collection of civilian ships should have been no match for them, but the Vrexians had stopped moving. They hung in space, uncertain. "They are afraid," Nathan said from his station. He sounded surprised. "They know who we are." Danny nodded. "Open a channel. All frequencies." The communication system hummed. Danny took a breath and spoke in a clear, calm voice. "Vrexian fleet, this is Captain Daniel Cole of the human vessel Horizon. The Zethrani people are under our protection. If you continue your approach, you will have to go through us." There was a long silence. Then a rough, angry voice came back. "You are only 17 ships. We are 50. You cannot win this fight." "Maybe not," Danny said. "But we can make sure that whatever is left of your fleet, when the fight is over, will not be worth having. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not run away. We will fight until every one of our ships is dust, and we will take as many of you with us as we can." He paused. "Is that how you want this to go? Because I am willing if you are." The Vrexian commander did not respond. Danny could almost feel the fear through the communication channel. The Vrexians had heard stories about humans. Everyone in the galaxy had heard stories. The species that would not die. The species that fought until there was nothing left. Finally, the Vrexian voice came back. It was smaller now, less confident. "This is not over, Terran. The Zethrani cannot hide behind you forever." "They do not need to hide forever," Danny said. "Just long enough for you to understand that attacking them means attacking us. And trust me, you do not want that." The Vrexian fleet turned. Slowly, one ship at a time, they moved away. They retreated into the darkness of space and disappeared. The bridge of the horizon erupted in cheers. Laura hugged Nathan. The crew laughed and shouted with relief. Danny allowed himself a small smile. Then he returned to the temple ship. The chamber of the conclave was different now. The fear was still there, but it was mixed with something else. Wonder, gratitude, hope. The oldest elder approached Danny. She moved slowly, her ancient body tired and worn, but her eyes were clear. "You could have let them destroy us," she said. "You could have used the attack as proof that we should fear you. Instead, you protected us." Danny shrugged. "I told you what humans do. We protect the things that matter to us. But we are not your people. We threatened to kill you. We called you monsters. That does not change anything," Danny said simply. "You needed help. We helped. That is all." The elder was quiet for a moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone in the chamber. She bowed her head to Danny, a gesture of deep respect. "For 50,000 years, we have lived in fear of your kind," she said. "The prophecy told us you would bring destruction. But today, you brought salvation. Today, you stood between us and death. Today, you proved that the prophecy was wrong." She straightened and looked at Danny with eyes that had finally let go of their fear. "We must write a new prophecy. It should say this: the Terrans will come, and for those they call friend, they will hold back the darkness." Danny felt his heart fill with something warm. This was why he had become an explorer. Not to find new worlds or strange species. To build bridges. To make connections. To show the galaxy that humanity was more than war and fire. "I would be honored to be your friend," he said. "All of us would." Vorath stepped forward. He held his ancient book in his hands, the same book that contained the old prophecy. "I think it is time we started over. I think it is time we learned who you really are, not through watching from far away, but by standing beside you." Danny reached out his hand. Vorath looked at it, not understanding. "On my world, this is how friends greet each other," Danny explained. Slowly, carefully, Vorath extended one of his 4 hands. He took Danny's hand in his own. The grip was awkward and uncertain, but it was a beginning. "Welcome to the galaxy, Terran," Vorath said. "We are glad you are here." 3 months later, the Horizon left Zethrani space as the first official diplomatic ship between the two civilizations. Behind them, the old station was being repaired. The temple ship was full of planning for the future, and in schools across Zethrani territory, children were learning a new story. It was a story about a species from a small blue world, a species that fought wars and nearly destroyed itself, a species that had fire in its heart, a fire that burned with terrible heat. But it was also a story about how that fire could give warmth, how it could light the darkness, how it could protect those who needed protection. The story ended with a promise. The Terrans are our friends now, and for those they love, they will burn the stars themselves to keep them safe. As the Horizon jumped into the darkness between stars, Danny looked back at the shrinking lights of Zethrani space. He thought about the fear they had found, and the hope they had left behind. "We did good work here," Laura said, standing beside him. Danny nodded. "We showed them who we are." "And who are we?" Danny smiled. "We are humans. We are fire and love and stubborn determination. And for the people who need us, we will never stop burning." The stars stretched into lines as the ship jumped to its next destination. Behind them, a new friendship was beginning. Ahead of them, a galaxy was waiting, and humanity, as always, was ready to meet it.